Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're waiting for the coffee to kick in or something. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's better. I do apologize for a little bit late start, but you all ain't going anywhere anytime soon, so we're all good. My name is Greg Canada. I'm the Assistant Dean of Admissions here at Indiana University Maurer School of the Law. And on behalf of the law school, it is my true pleasure and delight to welcome you to the first Admitted Student Day for the fall of 2019. It's both a joy and an honor to be here today. It's a joy because for the past 6 months, and yes, for the past 6 months, Janet Hine, Kendra Abercrombie, members of the admissions committee, and myself have been reading your applications carefully and tirelessly. And now we get to see these amazing and beautiful people behind the applications. And I'm telling you already, for those who I've met, you look better in person than you do in paper, which is saying a lot. Now, it's an honor because I can honestly tell you that standing in front of me and sitting in front of me, we have some of the finest prospective law schools in the entire nation in this room right now. But more of this in a moment. Now, today we're going to open our doors to try to impress you in the way that you've impressed us. You'll get a chance to meet our students. You'll get a chance to meet our faculty, our staff, and our alumni. You'll get to hear about the tremendous opportunities, both academic and professional, that await you if you join us at this law school. You'll hear about just everything that gives this law school its distinctive character and its impressive standing. But given the structure of the day, the one thing that you may not get a sufficient picture of really is who's sitting next to you, the amazing students who are here. I spent much of yesterday going through the copious notes that I have on each and every one of you. And if you receive my phone calls, you know that I take copious notes. So let me indulge you by telling you a little bit about who you are. Well, first of all, you're smart. Of course, you're smart because you applied to Indiana law. I mean, you got to be smart. But in order to be admitted to this fine law school, you have to have, a law school with a very strong academic profile. You've got to be numerically gifted, if you know what I mean. But we know that just numbers alone don't tell your full story. Many of you have attended some of the most selective colleges and universities in the nation and have been part of some impressive honors programs. Some of you have excelled in some of the most rigorous and challenging courses of study. I can't believe how many engineering students we have here. You have or will be graduating with just about every Latin honors possible. Many of you have spent much of, as I mentioned, going through a lot of your notes. I can't tell you just some amazing things that your faculty recommenders have said about you. You are very, very impressive. But in addition to being smart, you're multiverse. You represent a wide array of ethnic, cultural, and racial backgrounds. You vary quite a bit in age. You've attended 48 different colleges. You've gotten 41 different majors. You've come from at least 22 different states. Some of you have immigrated to this country at an early age or are children of immigrants. You speak many, many languages. I feel like I'm speaking in front of the UN right now. And your interest in the law is as varied as your backgrounds. You are driven. You're NCAA athletes, lettering in football, soccer, cross country, volleyball, and swimming and diving. You've helped run political campaigns. You've run marathons and competed in triathlons. You have beat cancer or have overcome many physical, social, and psychological impediments to achieve your goals. You have defied the odds, accomplishing much in your life despite growing up in poverty, in families torn by drug use, or in gang-infested neighborhoods. You have faithfully served our country as a member of our armed forces. You have successfully completed the National Outdoor Leadership School, which I thought was quite impressive. And you have successfully completed college while holding down full-time jobs or raising families. You're accomplished. You've worked at Fortune 500 companies. You're engineers. You've been a star at the National Model UN competitions and captains of your mock trial teams. You worked for governors, senators, and members of state and federal legislatures. You worked for federal district courts, countless state and city attorneys, and numerous law firms. You are student body presidents and vice presidents. You are leaders of your college marching band. You've worked in the White House. You are black belts in karate and other martial arts. And one of you is a national champion in Taekwondo. You have incredible heart. You're volunteers extraordinaire, spending countless hours working for such organizations as the Indiana Legal Services, Big Brothers Big Sisters, AmeriCorps, the Moral Courage Project, which is on the Mexico border, U.S.-Mexico border. You worked for Teach for America, Habitat for Humanity, Resource Centers for Persons with Disabilities, the Ohio Innocence Project. You've served as residential counselors, and you've tutored felons and refugees. You volunteered in prisons, juvenile centers, and countless homeless shelters. You're coaches and you're teachers. You're a community organized in supporting issues ranging from LGBTQ rights to protecting the environment. You are court-appointed special advocates. Some of you have faithfully cared for loved ones during difficult times. And some of you have cared for loved ones during their final days. Lastly, you're fascinating. You're talented musicians. Who's my mandolin player, by the way? Do we have her? Someone plays mandolin. I was hoping to have her play for us today. You're guitar virtuosos. Two of you play the clarinet fairly well. You're gifted singers. You're songwriters. You're authors and you're poets. You have traveled the world many times over. You're literature enthusiasts who enjoy reading Dante, Shelley, and even Melville. You're gifted chess players, motorcycle mechanics, and you enjoy astrophysics. Woo! A couple of you are classic rock and jazz enthusiasts. So I can go on and on about you, but my time is limited. In fact, I'm gone well over my allotted 5 minutes. I do apologize, Janet. But why am I sharing all this with you? Well, obviously by telling you how great you are, you make me look good. So thank you very much. But with joke aside, I hope you now know what an honor it is for me to be here today in front of you. I also hope, despite not being given a really significant amount of time to schmooze with each other today, each of you will leave here appreciating the amazing people who are sitting next to you and who are considering joining this esteemed law school this fall. I firmly believe your classmates, those who will be joining you as you pursue your educational professional aspirations, should be one of the most important factors you consider when thinking where you should enroll this fall. These folks will, or at least should, depending on the environment, something I would emphasize quite a bit about this law school, will challenge you to be the best possible law student you could be and future lawyer. And their success in law school, as well as their success in the practice of law, will ultimately be yours. Now, we do more than just recruit great law students and great administrators like myself. We also are known for recruiting great faculty, like the gentleman I'm about to introduce now. Professor Joe Hoffman is an award-winning scholar and law teacher. He is a past recipient of the Law School Gavel Award and the University-wide Outstanding Young Faculty Award. In addition to courses in criminal law and procedure and seminars on death penalty law and the psychology of criminal law, Professor Hoffman teaches seminars on law and society of Asia. A nationally recognized authority on the death penalty, he has also written extensively about criminal procedure and habeas corpus law. He has served on the Massachusetts Governor's Council on Capital Punishment and has spearheaded successful death penalty reforms efforts in Illinois and Indiana. Professor Hoffman is also on the faculty of the National Judicial College, where he teaches about death penalty law. In 1996, Professor Hoffman was a Fulbright professor at the University of Tokyo. 7 years later, he was once again awarded a Fulbright professorship, this time in Germany, at the universities of Erlangen and Jena. Before joining the Indiana Law Faculty in 1986, Professor Hoffman clerked for the Honorable Phyllis A. Kravich of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals and for the Honorable William H. Rehnquist of the United States Supreme Court. Please welcome one of my favorite professors here, and hopefully one of yours, Professor Joe Hoffman.
Well, thank you, Greg, for that overly kind introduction. I actually sat listening to your recitation of all the of some of the achievements and accomplishments in the room and thought, man, I would really have trouble getting into this law school these days. Seriously, though, welcome to IU and to the IU School of Law. This is a great university, a university with a worldwide reach and a worldwide reputation. Indeed, the only reason I'm here today to talk to you is because our dean is currently in Thailand in high-level meetings, including with the daughter of the king of Thailand. That's the kind of reach that this university has. It's also a great law school, a great public law school. And I want to stress that because I think it's a significant part of what makes this law school special. Not only are we one of the best law schools in the United States, but we are one of the very best public law schools in the United States. And there's a real commitment here to serving the public good. And it appears in many, many ways. It appears in the commitments of our students to pro bono work while they're in law school. It's reflected in many of the activities that we sponsor as a law school. Just about a week ago, our environmental law clinic won a huge case, essentially guaranteeing public access to the shoreline in northern Indiana along Lake Michigan. That came out of our clinic. That's the kind of work that gets done here, and I think that's a significant part of our story. Greatness walks these halls, and always has. Go into room 125 and check out the portraits of our emeritus and retired faculty. Huge names, each of them, in their fields. Go into the library and see the bust of Jerome Hall. It's just next to the elevator in the library. Rub his head for luck. I do that from time to time. Jerome Hall is probably one of the 5 most famous law professors in U.S. history, and he taught here. Our students are greatness personified and go on to do amazing things. There are no limits to what you can do with your law degree from this law school. We have great professors here now, by the way. I think, did they step out? You're going to meet some of them later. A couple of them were sitting in the back of the room until just a moment ago, but they'll be on the next panel as I understand it. So yes, greatness belongs here. But I want to close with another thought. And it's about something that you probably can't get out of the brochures. You might have picked it up a little bit from getting to know Greg and Janet, some of our admissions fellows. You might have picked this up. This place feels like home. Bloomington, Indiana University, and this law school feel like home. I've had a lot of options in my life. I've been very lucky. Greg mentioned some of the places I've gotten to teach in my career. I taught for a year at University of Virginia. I've lectured at places like Harvard and Vanderbilt and Texas and a number of other law schools all around the country and all around the world. I'm leaving later today for Paris because I'm going to be doing 2 weeks of lectures at the University of Paris. But I always come back. I knew from the beginning that I would always come back to this place. I never wanted to leave. I never seriously thought about leaving this place because this place is home. There's a feeling here. I've often wondered what produces that feeling. I think it's partly the small town location, but I think it's also a self-reinforcing culture. Cultures are strong, and this place has a culture of community and of welcoming and of support, right? This is not a place where people are cutthroat towards each other. And, I hope that you'll get to know that more and more as you spend your time here today. And certainly when you come here, I said when, not if. When you come here, I know you're going to feel that the way generations of students have felt that sense of belonging at this law school. So, again, welcome to IU. Welcome to the IU School of Law. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you're interested in criminal law, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I run a program here called the Bradley Fellows Program to support students who are interested in careers in criminal law. So get in touch if that's an area where you might have some interest. Okay? Great.
Two follow-up points. One, yesterday was Professor Hoffman's birthday, so happy birthday! It's his 21st anniversary of his 21st birthday, right? You know, I also came here from San Francisco, and many people ask, how did you possibly go from California to Indiana? And I couldn't ask for a better place to call home. The students that I've worked with, the faculty, this really is an exceptional place, and I really hope you have a chance to get an understanding about why this is a distinctive law school and why this law school has a venerable tradition, 175-year-old venerable tradition of producing outstanding practitioners of the law, leaders of the private sector, and the government. So with that said, you know, I've mentioned about all these fantastic students this law school attracts. Well, let me introduce you to another one. Mr. Kenneth Guerrera. Mr. Kenneth Guerrera received his Bachelor's of Science in Microbiology with honors from Indiana University in 2016. As an undergraduate, he served as a teaching assistant for the Department of Biology, a community manager for the Department of Residential Programs, and studied abroad in Ghana. He worked as a research associate at the IU School of Medicine, Department of Chemistry, and the Kelley School of Business. And if that was not enough, he served as a student ambassador representing IU in China and India on behalf of the Office of the Vice Provost. At Maurer, Mr. Guerra has been equally busy. He's received a Stewart Fellowship to work as a summer associate in Hanoi. He's been an active participant in several moot court competitions. He was the content editor for the IP Theory Law Journal. I don't know why that's hard to get off this morning. And was the ABA student representative of for the law school. He is currently the president of the Student Bar Association. I'll let you talk about maybe perhaps what you're going to be doing after graduation. But with no further ado, please welcome the next, or I say the future president of the United States, Mr. Kenneth Guerrera.
Welcome, admitted students. My name is Kenneth Guerra, as Dean Canada introduced, and I'm the president of the Law School Student Bar Association and also the Indiana University Graduate and Professional Student Body. On behalf of Indiana University and the Maurer School of Law, welcome and congratulations on your acceptance. I remember 3 years ago when I was here in your shoes and being overwhelmed by the decision that I would soon have to make. I applied to schools coast to coast, from large Big Tens to small and private. Each school I applied to, the school offered or claimed to offer something unique and be the best experience for me. However, in the end, I chose to come to the Indiana University Maurer School of Law, and it was the best decision of my life. There are many things that make this school special. I could talk about our world-renowned programs, such as the Stewart Center for Global Legal Profession, the Center for Intellectual Property Research, or the Center for Constitutional Democracy, to name a few. I could talk about the countless accomplishments of our faculty, such as clerking for United States Supreme Court justices, serving on transition teams of U.S. presidents, and testifying before Congress. I could talk about the accomplishments of our students and the job placement that they have at top firms, businesses, and government positions. But I'm going to talk about what I think makes us most special, our culture. When I applied to law schools, I toured as many as I could. Being the first person in my family to go to law school, I had no idea what to expect. I could tell a lot from law schools when I walked through the halls, for better or for worse. I visited a school where one student actually passed down her words of wisdom regarding class competition and warned me, when taking notes on your laptop, always back them up to the cloud, because you never knew when another student thought you're doing too well and might accidentally spill their coffee into your laptop. I visited another school where students told me to run while I still could. And I visited some other schools where the students looked downright miserable. But when I visited the Maurer School of Law, something was different. Something was better. When I walked into the lobby, wide-eyed, not knowing where I was going, a professor stopped to welcome me and asked me if I needed directions. When I walked through the halls, students were excitedly talking about their summer plans for where they were going to work and about the pro bono projects about which they were so passionate. And when I sat in on a class, Students offered each other their notes proactively and engaged with professors in ways that were both thought-provoking and downright inspiring. But what sealed the deal for me was after my tour, when I walked up to the admissions office. The team got to know me, the real me, not just my LSAT and GPA. It was clear they were genuinely seeking to build the next generation of exceptional attorneys. To them, admission was not just about numbers. Their goal was to find people to continue Mauer's tradition of academic excellence and collaborative community. And they succeeded. In my professors, I found some of the most brilliant minds I've ever met. In my classmates, friendships that will last a lifetime. And through this school, I've been places I never thought I would, doing things I never thought I could. Each of you is here today for a reason. You were chosen because of more than just your history of academic excellence. You're here today because you're the kind of person that will go the extra mile. You're the kind of person that will do things the right way, not just the easy way. And you're the kind of person who will build your success not just on what you do, but what your classmates do. Here, we don't compete against each other. We compete against ourselves. In closing, I want to welcome you and congratulate you on your acceptance. I hope you enjoy what we have in store for you today. I hope you realize, like I did, that this school has something special that you won't find anywhere else. And most of all, I hope you make the best decision of your life. I know I did. Thank you.
There'll be some people you really miss in the hallways when they graduate, and Kenneth was one. Kenneth has accepted a job in Washington, D.C., working at Finnegan, practicing patent litigation, pharmaceutical biotechnology, and medical device industries. So quite impressive. By the way, your check is in the mail. At this time, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I know we're running a little bit behind, and it's not my fault. Or actually, the person's fault it is actually the person who actually put this day on, and I want to give a special recognition to my right hand, someone I'm just so grateful for so many reasons, and that's our Director of Admissions, Mrs. Janet Hine. I can't tell you just how thankful I am to have Janet with me and for the day that she's put on. Again, if there are any mistakes, it's all her fault. No. What I would like to do is quickly switch gears now and kind of talk about how the day is going to proceed. So if you all be so kind as to take out your schedule, and I'm going to do a mad rush through this. If you have questions, we'll answer them a little bit later on. We are running a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. We'll make it up in one place or another. But after this, we're going to give you a little bit of a break. You've already heard enough talking heads. We'll have a little reception, or there's a little reception area outside. Feel free to get more coffee, donuts, or whatever we have out there for you. Then afterwards, around 9, it says about 9:50, but we'll probably be about maybe 10:05. We're going to have a number of faculty members here talking about the academic life of the law school. I can tell you, folks, this is one chance that you get, okay, to ask a law professor a question and not expect the question to be thrown back at you, okay? They will actually answer your questions, so please shoot away. That will be taking place here in the moot court room. Then after that, we'll take another little break, and then you'll have a chance to meet with a number of our alumni. A lot of you all want to know about the strength of this law school, its reach, professional opportunities, what the reputation of this law school is in the practice. This is a tremendous opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the alumni perspective. Then afterwards, we're going to take a small stroll over to the tutor room, which is over at the IMU. It's a very beautiful kind of Harry Potter-esque kind of building. And we'll have lunch there, and they'll have a chance to talk to each other. This will be an opportunity to actually smooth with one another. There'll be faculty there. There'll be a lot of students, myself, Janet, members of the admissions staff will all be there. So, this will be an opportunity to kind of let loose a little bit. And then afterwards, I thought, I was like, are you telling me my time's up? All right. Afterwards, there'll be tours. There'll be optional tours for those students who would like to take them. And then we'll make our way back here to this room where you'll actually hear from students, 1Ls, 2Ls, 3Ls, about their experience at the law school. And this will be very helpful for you to really kind of tease out the things you've been hearing so far. I sometimes tell students, my job is not to recruit great first-year students. It's really to recruit great alumni. And part of that means you to come to this law school based upon, a view of this law school of what you really hope the law school school is going to be. I won't achieve my goal if your view of this law school is somehow skewed from your lived experience. So this is an opportunity to really kind of brush against the grain of what we've been telling you, all the things, about how great the community is and so forth. This is an opportunity for you to really talk to the students and get their perspective on things. Afterwards, we're going to run kind of concurrent sessions. First will be lawyering for credit, and there'll be the rooms, by the way, room 21 is right across the hall, I believe. I'm still torn with these rooms, but right across the hall. And then room 120, this is all on this corridor. For those who are interested in advocacy clinics, externships, things like what we call experiential education, that would be a wonderful session for you. And these will last for about 35 minutes. And then there'll be one for IP for all you engineers and scientists. We'll also be doing a session, again, all on this corridor here, on joint degrees, our centers, journals, and moot court. Then there'll be a session being held by our Director of Financial Aid, Mr. Paul Leopold, one of the best in the industry. He'll be talking about financing and legal education. After 35 minutes, we'll break, and then we'll switch, and we'll be offering the same sessions, with the exception of international programs will replace IP. For those who are interested in doing some of the things that Kenneth has done, those of you who want to travel abroad, who want to become international law attorneys, this will be a wonderful opportunity for you to do that. And again, for those who want to do the financing legal education, you will have that session to go to as well. Paul will be here really almost all day. Then there'll be a small closing that will be led by Director Hine, and you'll have a chance to meet some of our missions fellows. And then afterwards, we ask you to stay around to join us for a reception that we'll be having here with members from the Jacobs School of Music, one of the best schools of music in the country, as well as an opportunity to meet with us, have a beer, a glass of wine, and schmooze a little bit. So with that said, are there any questions about the day? I'm sure I missed a lot, Janet. And I do apologize, we're running a little bit late. Are there any questions about the day? Okay. All right. Well, after this, let's go ahead and break now. We're going to break for about 10 minutes or so, and then 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So, restrooms, by the way, if you haven't found them, are in the corner here. When you walk out, take a right. They're in the corner. We'll see you all here about in 5 minutes. Thank you all very much.